Yeah, how are you doing today?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Nice to meet you.
Nice
Okay.
to meet you as well.
Well, so how can I call you? I can just call you Arm Branch, right?
Yeah. Arm Branch is good.
Okay,
And your
well,
G-Fest?
Yeah, Gefest. You can pretty much call me that. That's my name in game, and well, another games in general too. So can use
Cool.
that name pretty much.
All
Okay,
right.
I think let's just go through the form first. Does that sounds good?
Yeah, sounds good.
hmm Okay, well, what you mentioned so far in the forum, you realize that you're losing way too many games, dying so much. That's why
Yep.
you need coaching. That makes sense. In terms of long-term goals, you wanna hit GM and top 500. That is
Yep.
good. And you think that you need to work on your game sense and aim with decision making.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So you mentioned kind of you unsure what to do at any specific time. Can you elaborate on that actually? What seems chaotic? Chaotic is that the game seems a little bit too fast, or what is that
So
exactly?
so like I will watch YouTube videos, right? And they will just I don't know, like get in a good spot and just kill a bunch of people. But I feel like when I try that, I get like Sombra hacked or dived on or like I'm too
hmm
far from my team and I don't other times like I'll be like right in the middle of the point and
hmm
I'll kill someone, then immediately get killed. And I'm like, okay, maybe I was too close. I'm just like unsure. And then sometimes I'm trying to get better about this, but knowing like I've been focusing more like damage than healing usually. And
hmm
obviously that'll get my team killed
Hmm.
sometimes. So I feel like I'm trying to like balance a few different things playing support because I've been
Right.
watching Overwatch for like a long time and I used to play. I mean, I was gold in Overwatch 1, and I barely played ranked
hmm
because I didn't want to get flamed. Um, but I was playing damage heroes, but um, I've been playing support, and I like playing support and mainly Baptiste. So
Right.
yeah,
So basically, there are too many things going on, and that's why it's a bit difficult. Yeah, what I mentioned there so far is just we might get hacked or dived on. Yeah, too many things to keep an eye on, basically, right?
yep,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Or or I'll get sniped. Like Widow will get me from
Mm-hmm.
super far, and I like didn't even know she was there.
Right.
There are times I have noticed I've been playing more. I'm still like I don't want to say I'm new to the game, but I would say I'm new to playing the game. Like I've
Yeah.
watched videos for a long
Yeah.
time, but this is the first time I've wanted to like
Mm-hmm.
jump in and play. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I have noticed like over the past week, there are times where I'm like, oh, there's a Widow, and I get behind some cover.
Right.
So it might be improving a little bit there, but it
Yeah.
still happens way too much.
Exactly. Exactly. See, this is a common problem which you're facing. uh, it's just all about building those habits, and because there are a lot of habits you have to pay attention to, it
Uh huh.
requires time and effort to be able to get this automatic response sort of to certain situation. Are you driving a car by any chance?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, imagine you driving a car, you have to keep an eye on multiple variables on what's in front of you. Yeah, maybe somebody
Yeah.
is passing by, maybe there's a tree or the road is turning. Yeah, there are many things we have to be aware of,
Yeah.
and it requires time. You remember when you started driving, yeah, the first lessons are probably difficult, and you had to learn one step at a time, kind of, yeah. And that's the
Yeah.
same thing here. It's just Overwatch is really there are a lot of things going on, and but ultimately you can do the same like with any other
Okay.
sport or just driving a car. Try to build those good habits and
Okay.
actually be able to execute those, and that's what coaching is about. Actually, I just help players to give those tools and make sure they use those so they're building habits. But we're gonna talk
Uh huh.
about that a little bit more. Yeah, we can just jump in the replay actually and take a look. Just give I can give you a few pointers and you can see what you can start working on basically.
Okay.
Does that sounds
Sure.
good?
Sure. Yeah. Full disclosure, I had to like keep playing to get a fifth win to tell you my rank. I didn't have a rank before today.
That's fine. That's
So
fine.
like that's why I said I didn't have like a lot of good ones.
Yeah, that's completely fine. And your hero pool so far is just Baptiste and Anna sometimes, right?
I would on Overwatch 2, it's really just Baptiste. I tried Anna some in Overwatch 1. But I would say like I do want to play Anna at some point,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely want to play Baptiste.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, we can start with BAP. It's okay. Maybe eventually we're gonna add Anna. I'm just gonna write down like a question mark for the hero pool. Yeah, I'm writing all the info and whatever we're gonna get out of the lesson. You're gonna get the summary. It's gonna be short probably because it's gonna be just us talking for 25 minutes now, but yeah,
Huh?
if
Yeah.
you're gonna have any questions, you can always message me later. But yeah, we can start with.
Okay. Full disclosure, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I played like that well in this game, but we did
Mm-hmm.
win, and I felt like I played a little better in the second half than the first half.
Mm-hmm. We can start with the second half then, so we have enough time because yeah, the
Okay,
plays
because we
for.
go down
Mm-hmm.
2-0 and then come back
Mm-hmm.
3-2. I
Mm-hmm.
believe. I believe.
Mm-hmm. Can you see my stream just fine? Is it working for you?
Yes. Yeah, I can see
Mm-hmm.
it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you're gonna have any questions, feel free to ask those. And yeah, maybe do you have any questions before we start looking into this replay here?
No, no, not like specific
Okay.
questions.
Okay.
I don't know
Sounds
what I don't
good.
know.
That's okay. That's fine. Okay. Well, what's your thought process here? What are you looking to do, generally speaking, as Baptiste? Any specific things you're
Yep.
thinking about? Mm-hmm.
So for me, I usually try and I'm like, okay, when I'm walking up like to a fight, let me let me do a jump or something and try to see if there's some people here to get some damage like before the fight. Like just
Mm-hmm.
trying to do a little bit of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Um then after that, I don't know if I really have a plan. It's like more just, oh, there's my roadhog. Is he okay? Let me heal him. Oh,
Right.
is there someone I should I heal? Like, I don't know. I don't really have a thought after that. It's
Mm-hmm.
more just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like autopilot, and that's kind of what I was saying about the chaotic part of it for me.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. I think it's definitely a good habit which you have where you're trying to do damage and heal after. Yeah, we just trying to apply some pressure because it's more important in Overwatch 2, especially the damage output is always higher than healing output. So it makes sense to think about what you do with your damage first, because if you just heal, somebody's gonna die at the end anyway.
Uh-huh.
But it's still important to keep an eye on who we need to support directly with your healing, sort of. So by looking at this situation here,
Uh-huh.
because you can see your team through the walls as well while you're in the game, right? But to kind of
Yeah.
give you this picture, who do you think you should be supporting right away? If that would be direct support with the healing, who needs your attention first? What do you think?
So from what I can see,
Yeah.
it looks like there's um I can't tell, honestly. Like there's Roadhog in front of me. It looks like there's Junker Queen on someone over to the right. I don't know. Like that's like I would guess as
Mm-hmm.
walking up that like we're walking over from another point. There might be an
Mm-hmm.
enemy there. I need to check on my
Mm-hmm.
Roadhog. That's what I would think first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about your tracer?
Um, so she usually blinks around.
Right.
I don't like maybe I need to, but I feel like she has options like escape options.
Mm-hmm. How do you
Um,
decide who to support exactly? What it's based on?
their current health.
Okay, sure, sure. So something for us to think about, because there's a lot anticipation you can do in this game, because it's not
Okay.
all about reaction. Yeah, it's more about knowing what is going to happen when you're driving the car on the road. You see the sign on the road, and
Yeah.
then you can anticipate what you need to do. Do you need to speed
Yeah.
up? Do you need to actually lower the speed? So it's the same thing here. Do you see any
Yeah.
signs? What do you think besides the
Oh
HP?
gosh. That's- I feel like the answer is obvious.
Well, it's kind of obvious, but yeah.
So I mean, there's Honda right there. I mean, Lifeweaver's right in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that like the fight will start very soon.
Mm-hmm. Who
Based
is
on the position.
Yeah, who is gonna take damage most likely? Based on the position of your team. What do you think?
Um, do you mind moving a bit because I don't know the maps that well. Like
Yeah,
I can't tell where
uh,
the enemy team is coming in
it's
from.
fine. Yeah. So they're coming from
Okay,
here.
they're
Mm-hmm.
coming from there. Okay, probably so Tracer's right in front, so Tracer probably will
Mm-hmm.
get hit.
Exactly.
Roadhog's right there, so Roadhog will get hit.
Mm-hmm.
But Tracer's like the right in front,
Yeah,
right in
exactly.
front of the Hanto. They're both right there.
Exactly. Exactly. So who do you need to support first, most likely?
Probably Tracer.
Probably Tracer. Exactly. So
Okay.
it's based on the position. You see that positional sign. They're more on the front line. And they're also squishy members, so that is something to keep an eye on. Obviously,
Okay.
Tracer can blink around, sure. That means she can be surviving longer, but it's still important just paying attention to the position as kind of fundamental idea. If anybody is more upfront, they are on the more aggressive angle, on a more active angle. That is something for us to
Uh,
keep an eye on. And as you can see, your attention goes towards Life Fever, but it could be going towards the Tracer and actually saving some of the Tracer HP. You could see the Tracer is gonna actually take damage at the end, just gonna maybe slow it down a little. So the Tracer
okay.
blinks here, takes damage here, but our attention with the healing, that I think that is our bullet there. It goes towards this, yeah. But it could be towards this instantly, yeah, because you're anticipating, you're reading the signs,
Okay.
basically. Of
Okay.
course, it also depends on the map, right? You have to know where the enemy is gonna come from, but it's usually
Yeah.
it's kind of same.
So that's what I was gonna
Mhm.
say too. I was gonna ask this. I had a quick question.
Yeah,
Do I need to like I mean, I guess I get this by playing. I feel like I don't know the maps well enough to
yeah.
know where they're going to be coming from.
Yeah, I think most of it is gonna be solved by just playing. Simply, to be
Okay.
honest, if you play more,
Well, that's
then
good news.
yeah, you're gonna figure this out because every map, well, not every, but let's say King of the Hill and Flashpoint, they're sort of symmetrical. So
Uh-huh.
if your team is coming this way, then you expect the enemy to kind of come another way. Obviously, there are
Right.
options, but usually people choose shorter rotation. That's why there's a tendency that they're gonna come from the same direction as you did.
Okay.
That's why you might be expecting people coming from here. Well, and if you do, then you know because this space is more on the front line, we can support that first. Yeah,
Okay.
this is an
Okay.
example. And that is how thought process goes. Yeah, maybe if you did the support on that tracer, maybe your life fever, uh, you don't need to use the pool anymore. He
Mhm.
just can hold that, and that would be easier. I like the damage and using cover a little bit here, so it's nice. You're hiding from Wiser. hmm Some of the support on the hog. Yeah, see again, understanding who is the most active. Yeah, what do you think about now? What are the signs? Who do you think is the most active? What is based on?
Okay, so Lifeweaver looks behind cover
Mm-hmm.
up top, and the way they're angled, I don't think they can get them. So
Yeah.
it's Tracer and
Oh.
Hog right here.
Mm-hmm. Look at the hog. Look at the tracer. Who is doing more? Who is being more active at the moment?
Well, Hog is
Yeah,
alting.
exactly. Now that's one more sign. For example, you can
Okay.
just look at who's doing most damage. It's based on what kind of cooldowns they're using. Maybe they're using ultimates. Maybe they are playing at their favorable range as well. Like let's say Tracer is up close, it's different compared to the Tracer playing at the sniper range. Kind of, this is
Yeah.
really
Okay.
far. Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah.
she's not that active, and that's what you want to keep an eye on. Supporting most active member based on position, based on the other stuff, obviously. But I would start with the position. I would start with paying attention to cooldowns a little bit more as well. I like the
Okay.
shooting. Shooting is it's fine because nobody is active. See, mm, nobody is active. You have this kind of downtime, so it's easy for you to apply the pressure. You can be that active person, kind of apply pressure by yourself. I think what's important though, it's understanding when do you need to switch to healing exactly. But
Mhm.
let's see. Okay, so this fight seems kind of lost there, but yeah. Let's see. what about the next one? We gonna start up here, supporting the store. The question is, when do you start switching from dealing damage to the healing? Is it just about like this guy's being active? Yeah, because as I mentioned, it's actually more important to apply pressure. It's good that you're applying pressure, but it's just
Uh,
what is the main signal when you need to switch to healing? What do you think?
um, that they're not gonna die.
Yeah, kind of. So I would just look at if they're critical HP, that's when you start healing, and before that you
Huh.
can apply pressure, but you have to make sure you position correctly. So we kind of, if you see both enemy in your team, we're applying pressure, and then if there's a choice you have to make it, if somebody goes critical, you see who is the most active, especially you have to keep an eye on them and try to support them with your healing. If you cannot see an enemy team sometimes, yeah, like that was the case here, you was not
Uh,
able to
yeah.
see anybody, so your
Yep.
support goes towards the most active automatically, direct support, and indirect support, I usually call it, you doing damage. It's just because you do damage to somebody, they start using their cooldowns, they
Uh huh.
hide, and that's why it's easier for your team to survive on the map. Yeah,
Okay.
this
Yeah, that
is.
makes sense.
The damage part is really good. This is what most actually a lot of people, they, especially at your rank, they not getting it correctly. I would just think about the quality of the damage, the quality of how can we apply more pressure, basically.
Okay.
So, what do you think about your position, where you can be, so it's easier for you to do that initial pressure? What do you think?
So they seem to be coming in. So one thing that I'm trying to do, I'm like, okay, I'm like trying to keep it in mind, like off
Mm-hmm.
angle or something like that, which like I may not even be to that point. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it looks like so the reason I'm like where I'm at right now is because I'm scared of dying. Like part
Mm-hmm.
of me wanted, I remember, I feel like I wanted to walk like kind of like past where that turret is a little
Mm-hmm.
bit and like shoot from the left side.
Right here.
Like
This is
here,
good.
yes.
Yeah, why
That
not?
that's kind of what I thought. But if you saw from that previous fight, I think it was like Hanzo came around or something, and
Mm.
I like and my Torb was there. That's the other thing too. Like I'll walk up with like one of my teammates and don't notice that they're not there. Like all of a
Mm.
sudden,
Mhm.
and then I
Mhm.
die. So
Mhm. Mhm.
I walked over there and then died, and then I got
Mhm.
scared and stayed over here on
Mm.
the point
Mhm.
because I
Mhm.
was like, well, I went over there and died. Um,
Mhm.
and I wasn't sure. And that's the other thing too. I don't always know why. So I like don't know if that's the right
Mhm.
place. Like was I out of place or
Mhm.
that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, this is okay. There is another habit you can train. We can actually talk more about that, how to play based on where most of your team is. But I would definitely start with, especially at this point of time when you just started playing competitive more actively, thinking how you can push your limits. So it's just
Okay.
more about how you apply pressure more while being safe, not other way around, being safe and applying pressure. Yeah, because now you emphasizing the fact that you need safety. Yeah, you're gonna die or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Rather thinking about me being more proactive, and that would lead to those situations where your teams actually they don't need as much support and you can survive as well. Basically, if we play here, let's say we apply pressure on the Hanzo, or we apply pressure on the Mercy or Kiriko, doesn't matter, you force them to use cooldowns, and because they're using cooldowns they hide around the walls, you make it harder for them to walk in. So I would
So I'm doing
definitely.
nothing right now,
Yeah,
essentially.
exactly. Yeah, just do your job. You need to do damage, as you mentioned, before the fight, and once your team goes critical, somebody needs attention, you start healing them, and obviously start healing most active person. For example, this hog. Once he's not anti, you can maybe heal him up. If he's not critical, you can just shoot damage. Yeah, just normal damage, but do it from the more active spot. Yeah, to kind
Okay.
of fundamentally put it. So yeah, because there's a lot of depths about the positioning, but I would just definitely start with where you can see an enemy team and your team at the same time. Start there. This position you only see your team, so that's a mistake. We want to
Okay.
see both, ideally. And the
Okay. Okay.
quality of the position, it comes with the playtime. Obviously, I can talk about that more as well. But yeah, this here. Let's look at the next fight. For example, now we go in on a point. We want to get a position where it's easy for you to see an enemy and your team at the same time. That's why high ground might make sense, actually. Yeah. What do you think about this position? Could you be anywhere else? So it's
The other
easy.
side.
The other side potentially as well. Yeah. Just depending on where the enemy is gonna walk. This map.
Oh,
Mhm.
also, I was scared. I remember, I was scared of Hanzo
Right. Right.
at this particular time, and I remember seeing him and being like, "Oh, I need to stay right here,"
Right.
because I think he had already sniped me in this match.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I was like, "Okay, I just need to kind of stay
Mhm.
behind this thing. He's looking at me.
Mhm.
He's gonna shoot me." So I was even like,
Mhm.
so I was just kind of healing, and I can see my team fighting, but I felt like I couldn't
Right.
move.
Right. So we want to find out how to apply pressure without this Hanzo being without being exposed to Hanzo. So
Yeah.
if we know the Hanzo is there, like what about if we here, or what about if we let a little bit on this side, well, kind of behind our team. Well, it's not the best. I think it's better if you take that off angle. But yeah, just seeing the quality, not being too defensive, right? Not
Okay.
focusing on much of a direct support, but focusing
Uh,
on still applying pressure a little bit. What about if the Hans is there? Maybe I move to the left, but you use the jump to just shoot this a little bit. What about if you move back and just reposition on this angle later? Yeah, potentially. Yeah. You can also play
right.
around the shots. There's a lot of additional stuff, right? You might
Sure.
get the
Sure.
Hanzo distracted. If somebody is just goes on him, you can use that as a distraction and hide. Yeah, there is a lot of stuff like that, but yeah, definitely fundamentally thinking about how to apply pressure anyway, if possible. Mm-hmm. Does it make sense? Or
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So far this position is alright though. Like overall, you get decent value. Something to think about is your movement as well. I
Uh
see
huh.
you do a lot of shooting, but the movement something we can work on too.
Sure.
That's where
Okay.
you can just avoid getting sniped easily. But
Uh
by the
huh.
way, at this range, it's kind of okay-ish against the projectile. You can live if your movement is right. Then you can play around those shots. You basically kind of maybe bait those out, and then because he is using the shot, you can use that downtime and apply your own pressure. That's okay. I think
Hmm.
it's only scary against the Widowmakers at this range because they
Okay.
can instantly shoot you. But the projectile.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So like
hmm
Honda's a little safer, but
Yeah, it's
a
still
little more room.
scary, obviously. Yeah. Right. Okay. hmm
And then I saw them coming around the side here as well.
So
So I
you.
started trying to shoot
hmm
early, but then I thought they were gonna rotate behind, and I
hmm
don't know if they ended up doing that.
hmm This looks much better overall. Yeah, it's just you have this in position. You kind of supporting most active member. You do shooting before the actual fight. Yeah, so it's just being more consistent with all of that. It seems like
Okay.
we want to keep all those variables in mind. Definitely, the movement is something we can talk about
Okay.
later. Okay, what I would do is just we have some minutes left. Maybe let's just think what we got out of this so far, and then we can talk about what we can do in the future with you. Just regarding anything. Yeah. What do you think? Other things you got out of today? What are the things you need to work on so far?
Okay, so what I got is
Mm-hmm.
one, knowing or trying to recognize when I actually do need to support,
Mm-hmm.
paying attention to who needs the most support, and that could be um, when there's not a lot going on, there's some anticipation there, of which of your teammate is the most active, and that can be generally
Mm-hmm.
used in fights as well. When they're critical, you definitely need to focus on healing. Um, but if
Mm-hmm.
but other than that, it's about where I position myself and applying pressure to the enemy by doing damage, and I need to focus on that more than I need to focus on just raw healing. Um,
Exactly.
what I need to work on, movement. You said it's really easy for me to get sniped based on my movement.
Yeah,
Um,
there are some details, just fundamentally, like so. Gonna be specifics. Specific. You need to do more de-strafing, but because this topic is more there are a lot of details. I would actually dive into that later potentially, but that is something you
Yep.
can implement. The idea is if we facing an enemy, there should be some sort of a de-strafing, not just moving back and forth because you create a straight line.
Okay.
Yeah, so that can be something. And for target priority, what's important to say, because we mentioned you want to focus on who is the most active member. What is that based on? How do you choose who to focus on exactly?
It's based on where, well, at least from what I understood,
Yeah, of
based on
course.
where um, my team is and where the enemy team is, and where
So,
and what they're doing. Like
mm-hmm.
if they're using a cooldown, if they're using an alt, like if Farah is alting or something. I do. I don't know if it's my job, but I feel like I'll turn to Farah and try and heal her if I
Right,
hear her alting because she's an
exactly,
easy target.
exactly.
Um, so based on those things, and then I think like you mentioned if they're critical as well
Yeah,
um,
I think
to
two
support
main
them, but that doesn't mean
things.
they're active.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of starting with just their position and seeing what they do with their cooldowns. I would pay attention to that first. That is a
Okay.
good habit to implement. Later, you can pay attention to other things. But
Okay.
yeah, it's just because I kind of mentioned based on positioning, yeah, what was that? It's just who is in the front line more. But there are also going to be other factors in terms of positioning, which we can talk about. Uh, what I would do for the future.